It's Wednesday, July 25th, and this is now on HNN. Caught on camera, crooks target another Honolulu business. We'll tell you what was stolen.
The daughter of the woman killed in a brutal North Shore murder takes the stand in the trial of Haley Danduran.
This is good. This is a start.
UPS and the Teamsters Union reach a labor deal to avoid a chaotic strike.
These stories, plus LeBron James's son, Bronny, suffers cardiac arrest during a USC workout. Details coming up on This Is Now.
Aloha and good afternoon. Happy Tuesday. Thank you all for joining us here on This Is Now. We begin today with another Honolulu business that was targeted by thieves overnight, and it was all caught on camera.
Yeah, the McCully area dessert shop is now left to clean up the mess, and the owners are hoping police are able to catch whoever is responsible.
Surveillance cameras captured the break-in around 3:40 a.m. at the edible storefront in the McCully Shopping Center. They're a small business specializing in baked goods, edible cookie dough, and other desserts. The store owners shared this video online in hopes it will lead police to any tips in the case. Owners say the two suspects came up the stairs and broke the glass doors. They ran inside and took the cash register. The owners were notified of the break-in by a Ring security camera and rushed down to the shop. Police were already on scene when they arrived. They were told there was another break-in on Baritania Street just 20 minutes earlier. However, it's unclear if there is any connection between the two. We're speaking to the shop owners and we'll have more on this in later editions of Hawaii News Now.
Hawaii Island police are investigating after a teen apparently drowned at a beach in Kailua, Kona yesterday. Officials identified the victim as 17-year-old Johan Choi. Police say 4 fishermen went into the water at around 1:30 p.m. near Hokuli'a public beach access, but 3 hours later, only 3 made it back to shore. A search found the boy unresponsive on the ocean floor. He was brought to shore and taken to Kona Community Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. An autopsy has been ordered to determine the exact cause of death. Meanwhile, the medical examiner has officially identified the 2 free divers who died on Oahu's North Shore last weekend as 32-year-old Raymond Tudela and 28-year-old Rupert Babauta, both from Kaneohe. The men were brothers-in-law and co-workers. They were spearfishing Saturday night and were found dead in the ocean near Veslan Beach. The medical examiner said determining their exact cause of death could take several months. Police are also investigating, although no foul play is suspected. Meanwhile, the diving community is waiting for answers that could help keep everyone safe.
We as divers put ourselves in the position of the victims. You can actually learn things over the years. You accumulate knowledge and you learn maybe what not to do. And that is how this kind of tragedy can actually help and benefit divers in the future to avoid those kinds of dangers.
Child Protective Services has taken custody of a 4-year-old girl on Hawaii Island after police arrested her mother for felony abuse. Police say Alicia Nakamura's daughter ran screaming to a neighbor's home in Mountain View Friday night, claiming her mother choked her. Nakamura is also accused of attacking the neighbor who returned the girl. Police say the mother and her child were later caught hiding in some bushes with a bag of meth. Nakamura's bail is set at $32,000. She's due back in court on Wednesday. McCully murder suspect Myron Takushi is set to appear in court again tomorrow. He faced a judge yesterday and his bail was confirmed at $1 million. The 44-year-old is charged in the shooting death of William Konodalin inside the 2012 sports bar last Wednesday.
A 14-year-old girl testified in court against the woman accused of killing her mother. The defendant, Haley Danduran, wiped away tears as the jury was shown photos of Thelma Boyenville's injuries, including stab wounds, chops to the head, and blunt force trauma. Prosecutors say the housekeeper was killed by Danduran and her then boyfriend, Stephen Brown, while they were burglarizing a Pupukea vacation home back in 2017. Boyenville's daughter, Makana, was 8 at the time, waiting in her mom's truck when Brown came out and brought her inside. She testified that she did not see Danduran hurt her mother, but she was covered in blood.
It was the guy with the green hair and the girl with the pinkish red hair.
And how sure are you that the guy with the green hair and the girl with the pinkish hair are the same two people that you've described to us earlier?
I'm 100% positive.
I asked my daughter nicely if I could share an image with her of a picture on a phone, and if she could let me know if these were the people. So I shared the image to my daughter. She said, yes, that's them, as she pushed the phone away from herself.
The trial continues today.
UPS and the Teamsters Union have reached a tentative deal that would avoid a devastating strike at a crucial time for U.S. consumer spending. Karen Kafa is in Washington with a look at what's at stake.
UPS and the Teamsters Union said they've reached a tentative deal on a new contract for about 330,000 UPS employees who prepared to walk out next week.
This is good. This is a start.
Those workers need to ratify the deal to avoid a work stoppage that would hit in the middle of the back-to-school shopping season, which the National Retail Federation estimates will generate $41.5 billion in spending. NRF says supply chain crises sparked by the COVID-19 pandemic prompted retailers to better anticipate disruptions.
We're obviously in the middle of back to school. That product is on shelves and stocked already. Heading into holiday, we know retailers are already in a good place with inventory and thinking ahead.
And consumers adapted too, starting shopping early to find deals to counter inflation and to get what they want.
There's a lot of tools out there. We know consumers have become adept at using them, and retailers have certainly built in their own systems for communicating with their shoppers about what is available and when and how long it might take to get to them.
UPS handled an average of 20.8 million domestic packages a day last year. Anderson Economic Group estimated a 10-day UPS strike would cost the U.S. economy $7.1 billion.
While the Postal Service and FedEx and some other delivery channels may pick up some of the slack, there aren't enough options available to the businesses and consumers alike today to replace the volume that UPS handles.
There's a parking problem at the Honolulu Police Department. As our Lynn Kawano investigates, it's not only an inconvenience, it's also impacting public safety.
The video is eye-opening. The employee parking garage at Alapai is also being used to store vehicle evidence, and that's delaying officers from getting on the road. About 80 vehicles marked as evidence fill level P2, the secure employee lot of HPD's main station. The recently added cars are double parked and take up one full driving lane. The older vehicles are covered in dust and take up the parking stalls. Officers have to wait until the previous watch leaves to get a spot.
The police are saying that they need more people on the road, but if this could cause a bottleneck.
The department says most of the evidence cars are connected to violent crimes, including homicides. They're being stored at the request of the prosecutor's office, but defense attorneys say that's not necessary.
I've never had a actual car used as evidence in any of the cases that I've had. They put pictures and things of that nature, so I don't know why you'd need to keep the whole car anyway. You can photograph it, process it.
But what they could do very easily is just discuss the issue with the defense attorney, make it available.
Parking problems have always been an issue for HPD officers, but it's worse now. In a statement, the prosecutor's office says evidence, including vehicles, is important to successful prosecutions, and the department is working with HPD to reduce inventory without compromising the integrity of criminal cases or public safety. Legal experts point out evidence from other crimes aren't seized for such a lengthy period of time.
Shoplifting cases. They used to take the item that was concealed and hold it until the trial. until finally they passed the statute that says, no, they can just take pictures of the items. They're preserving the evidence.
HPD says they are now doing monthly inventory checks, and they are trying to get vehicles deemed abandoned towed out of the structure. We asked the prosecutor's office and HPD for updates as they work through the problem with the parking situation. We'll follow up. I'm Lynn Kawano, Hawaii News Now.
A Waikiki church that said it was ending its daily lunch distribution program is once again serving free meals. St. Augustine by the Sea said Mayor Rick Blangiardi asked the church to stop the food line at the side gate on Oahu Avenue after some had complained the free food attracts problems. Blangiardi says he received many complaints from businesses and residents over the years, and to address the concerns, the church moved the distribution onto its property.
To force them out of our communities, and all they do is go other communities, and then other communities get upset because they're now in their community.
During COVID, they moved their feeding services out to the street and on the sidewalks, and that was creating a situation for us that was no longer acceptable for a lot of reasons.
In the past 2 years, the city has ordered police crackdowns, changed parked hours, hired security guards, and targeted repeat offenders, all to keep troublemakers out of the tourist zone. The mayor said he's concerned that continuing the pantry could pose long-term challenges in the area, and he'll be monitoring the church's operations. Akiona says aside from answering to God, he also answers to his superior, Honolulu Bishop Larry Silva, who he says has given no orders to stop feeding people in Waikiki. Monster homes change the character of our communities and have long been a problem. Casey Lund has more on what the Honolulu City Council is doing to prevent them from popping up in neighborhoods.
We're talking about Bill 44. It essentially gives the city some teeth when it comes to going after developers who falsify information on their building permits. They can have those permits pulled by DPP, but then they can appeal it. This would give them some harsh punishments if that happens. So, for example, it could be up to a year in prison in the worst case, $2,000 fines, up to a $2,000 fines, 80 hours of community service. But I want to talk more broadly about the problem of monster homes, not just here in the Kamehameha Heights neighborhood where we're at, but in Kaimuki. And Jackson Sayama is with us. He's the state representative for District 21, which includes Kaimuki. And there's a case that is going before that Building Board of Appeals right now. Can you talk about that monster home and kind of the situation there?
Sure. So the one you're talking about is 3615 Sierra Drive. They are currently in front of the Building Board of Appeals. That construction has been going on for about 2 years now, and there has been numerous issues throughout the construction project. And finally, it received a stop work order from DPP, actually twice, because they failed to cooperate on the first one. So we're excited to see a favorable hearing on that.
And this bill, do you think it will actually make a difference and stop some of this? And I want to also include with that question, what kind of frustrating messages and issues are you hearing about from your constituents that have been dealing with these problems in neighborhoods like that for a long time?
Yes, Bill 44 will go a long ways to helping solve this issue. A lot of times these developers only get a slap on the wrist, and so they don't have any disincentive to stop doing what they've been doing. And from our constituents, they've been complaining about, of course, the enforcement, but also the fact that these developers don't care about the community during the construction process. As I mentioned, they don't have the dust covers, so dust has been going everywhere. And next door to the 3615 property, there's been a family that just had a newborn child, so it's been a big health risk to everyone.
Yeah, not just in your neighborhood. I appreciate State Representative Jackson Sayama. Again, Bill 44 would create falsifying your building permit plans, misdemeanor up to a $2,000 fine, 80 hours of community service, and that year of jail time in an extreme case. Those are the maximums, of course. It goes to committee today and then would have 2 full readings in front of the full city council to be passed. Reporting in Kamehameha Heights neighborhood, I'm Casey Lund for Neville. Send things back to you.
When I grow too old to dream, I'll have you to remember.
Frederick Kamaka Sr., the son of the founder of the legendary Kamaka ukulele, has died at the age of 98. Kamaka and his late brother Sam led the company for decades after their father patented the pineapple-shaped ukulele in the 1920s. Fred served in World War II, the Korea and Vietnam Wars. He earned a Silver Star for gallantry in 1953. Kamaka often led daily tours of his family's ukulele factory in Kaka'ako. In 1971, he joined Kamaka Ukulele as the company's business manager and VP through 1995. Frederick later became the company president after his brother's passing in March 2022. And both he and his brother were inducted into the Ukulele Hall of Fame Museum in 2012. Fred is survived by his 3 children, 10 grandchildren, and a great-grandchild. His nephews are keeping the family business going. If a friend or family member recently brought back Trader Joe's snacks for you from a trip, here's a consumer alert. A recall has been issued for 2 kinds of almond cookies. The company says they may contain rocks. The recall involves almond windmill cookies and dark chocolate chunk and almond cookies with sell-by dates through October 21st. Trader Joe's says customers should throw them away or return them to the store.
On what would have been Emmett Till's 82nd birthday, the Biden administration is honoring his legacy. 3 sites tied to his tragic story will be part of a national monument.
Yeah, those sites include the riverbed where his body was found, the courthouse where the jury found his alleged murderers not guilty, and the church where his funeral took place. Elise Preston has the story.
The memory of 14-year-old Emmett Till is imprinted on the banks of the Tallahatchie River.
This landscape holds memory of one of the most painful moments in American history.
Reverend Wheeler Parker Jr. has not forgotten the summer of 1955 when he traveled with his cousin Emmett from Chicago to visit relatives.
Was he excited to go to Mississippi? Was this his first time?
First, they told me he couldn't go. That didn't sit well at all.
The cousins went to the grocery store owned by Roy and Carolyn Bryant.
Miss Bryant comes out. And when she comes out, he whistles.
So as soon as he whistled, you knew?
We took off. We had to realize what it was like to hear that. This black boy whistled a white woman, 1955 in Mississippi. That's a death sentence.
Days later, armed, Roy Bryant and his brother, J.W. Milam, roused the family at their home.
They came to take him, and that's what they did.
Till's almost unrecognizable body was found in the river. The brothers were charged with murder, but found not guilty by an all-white jury. Till's mother, Mamie Till Mobley, held an open casket funeral at Roberts Temple in Chicago.
That act alone is said to be the catalyst for the civil rights movement.
Marvell Parker is married to Wheeler Parker. Their focus now is restoring the 100-year-old church building, which needs roughly $20 million. Back in Mississippi, the Tallahatchie County Courthouse, where the trial was held, is restored to what it looked like in 1955.
There was a battle here. There's a battle for the soul of this nation. And that day, we all lost.
Brent Leggs, who worked for this national monument designation, hopes it will bring attention to the estimated 5,000 additional Black U.S. historic sites in need of $500 million for preservation.
It isn't for our nation to remain stuck in a painful past. It really is to challenge our nation to say that we can do better.
Elise Preston, CBS News.
Let's go ahead and take a live look outside. This is San Francisco's Bay Bridge. A nice 81 degrees out there, so they are not being impacted by the severe heat wave across the mainland. A beautiful shot out there, but let's go ahead and check in and see how our island weather is shaping up with our Guy Hoggy.
How's it on this Tuesday? The weather's looking fantastic. We're not going to see much in the way of change anytime soon, and that's good. It's quiet in the Central Pacific and the East Pacific as well. We don't have any cyclonic activity. That's good. And we don't have much rain this morning. Normally, we'll get some wind and mocha showers, and we had that in the overnight hours for a handful of spots, but you can see it is fairly dry this morning. And whatever rain comes in will also be moving out quickly. That's because of the brisk and breezy winds. Windier this morning than yesterday. Of course, the winds will remain light over on the Kona side. So Tuesday is going to look a lot like Monday, and it's going to look a lot like Wednesday, and that is going to be gorgeous with lots of sunshine. We'll have a few showers during the overnight and early morning hours. They won't amount to very much. And with all the afternoon sunshine, high temperatures again approaching 90, but at least we got those breezy winds to help keep us cool. And because of those winds, we still have a wind swell on the east side. Small little pulse continues on the south shore. Otherwise, the surf's going to be rather small for quite a while. So the breezy winds are going to hang on for quite a while as well. They'll be running pretty swift all the way through Saturday, easing up on Sunday.
Thank you so much, Guy. Time to check out some news from the feeds. Seaman First Class Elmer P. Lawrence was among the more than 2,000 people killed during the attack on Pearl Harbor.
For more than 80 years, he remained missing in action, but thanks to new technology, his remains have been identified and he was laid to rest in Kentucky. Sean Baute has the story.
Seaman First Class Elmer P. Lawrence is coming home.
It's so great.
It's wonderful.
Lawrence was among the more than 2,000 people killed during one of the most infamous days in American history. After more than 80 years, his family learned he'd been identified.
Oh,
And just what that was like.
it was a thrill.
Lawrence never met his nephew, Mike Edwards, but Edwards knows all about him. His mother never forgot.
And she's smiling. She's more than happy. She's grateful. I mean, I can just see her face now.
I asked Edwards what he thinks his mom would say if she were alive to see her brother return home.
After she stopped crying, no telling. I don't know what she would say. She probably would faint.
In 2015, the Navy began efforts to use DNA to identify the more than 400 people they thought previously were unidentifiable at the USS Oklahoma. Edwards, eager for answers, gave them his own DNA.
And we did that. We sent it all in, and I don't know how many months.
Years. It's been years.
Edwards' wife, Annette, has been by his side for more than 30 years and has heard all the stories.
I am grateful and blessed to be able to be sharing it with him because it's a glorious day.
Mike and Annette believe Uncle Elmer has already reached his eternal home. Though his earthly home may be secondary, it means the earth to those still here.
I realize he's already home in heaven, but we get to bring his remains home to where he lived and grew up, and that's a blessing, a blessing.
And this is a story making headlines in the sports world. Bronny James, the eldest son of basketball superstar LeBron James, suffered a cardiac arrest during basketball practice at the University of Southern California yesterday. The 18-year-old was treated at the scene before being taken to the hospital, according to a family spokesperson. The statement said that Bronny is no longer in the intensive care unit and is in stable condition. Now, the 6'3" incoming freshman for the USC Trojans is ranked 20th on ESPN's Top 100 2023 recruits. The university said it was not in a position to comment out of respect for the students' privacy.
Let's go ahead now and check out some good news now. And this is an annual tradition that really is just interesting to take a look at. I mean, check this out. These sculptures, butter. This year's Ohio State Fair Butter Cow Sculpture is a tribute to Ohioan inventors. The American Dairy Association Mideast unveiled the sculptures today. They're made from 2,000 pounds of butter. The display features innovators including Thomas Edison, Garrett Morgan, Josephine Cochrane, and James Spangler, along with their most impactful inventions such as the light bulb, the traffic signal, and next to the butter cow and calf, of course, sculptors put in about 450 hours to craft the buttery display, which is kept in a 46-degree cooler. Wow. That is something right out of Rosen Island,
Yeah, sure
St.
is.
Olaf, Butter Queen. We love it.
It all comes back to Golden Girls.
It
always
always
does.
Always does.
All right, one last story, you guys. So they say at Burger King you can have it your way. Well, in Thailand, the fast food chain has introduced a burger with just meat. That's it. I mean, no sauce or toppings or anything. And it costs about $10. So the real meat burger comes on a bun and it's filled with 3 beef patties. But customers can add as many patties as they want for about $3 extra per patty. So there you go. So I guess this comes after there's a real cheeseburger that's been trending. It's a burger bun only filled with cheese. So there's 20 slices of American cheese.
How many slabs of meat would you order?
2 at most.
2 at most. That's really all you need.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and take you outside one more time. San Francisco's Bay Bridge. A beautiful day out there in San Francisco and a beautiful day here in Hawaii as well. We thank you so much for tuning into This Is Now and hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Aloha.